All right, Rob. Well, we'll get started because I don't want to cut into the hour too much. People will just kind of join us as we get going here. But good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm with Rob today. He is with the DAV, which is the Disabled American Veterans. And he's going to talk about their national employment program. So this is recorded. This will be a great resource for everyone to share after the fact. You'll be able to find it on our website and on our YouTube channel. But if anybody has any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to drop it in the chat. I'm going to monitor that and I can pop in and let Rob know. But yeah, Rob, thank you for being with us this morning. And whenever you're ready, we can just jump right in.
Thank you, McKenna, and welcome to everybody. I'd like to begin on behalf of the DAV and National Commander Andrew Marshall and National Adjutant Mark Burgess. I bring you greetings this morning. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to thank a few people who helped us get to where we are today. So I would like to thank Mr. John Casper, who is the CEO and President of Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank McKenna Un, who has helped us. She's the Events and Communications Coordinator for the Chamber. I'd like to thank also Mark Halflin, who is the Administrative Assistant, who also assisted in making this happen. And certainly last but not least, I would like to thank Mike Hurt, who is DAV Past Department Commander for the Department of Wisconsin, who is currently the Adjutant of Chapter 17, Winnebago County. And I would like to put a shout out to all the leadership and members of Chapter 17. And good morning. So let's begin the presentation. DAV's National Employment Department team is made up of 4 individuals at times. So myself as the Employment Director, Ryan Burgos is our Assistant National Employment Director, Mary Hunter is our Employment Specialist, and also our Corporate Liaison Representative for our department. And Christy Frank is my assistant who helps keep me straight each day of the week. Our mission, we are committed to helping active duty Guard and Reserve component members, veterans and their spouses in securing meaningful employment. And we do that through a number of different assets and contacts as we network. We do this directly with veterans and their employers. We work directly with the VA, VR&E department, as well as Department of Labor and other government agencies. We work directly with Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialists, known as DVOPs, and local veteran employment representatives, known as LEVers, at workforce agencies stationed all over the country and in every county in every state. We also conduct and sponsor job fairs and other outreach efforts to put the word out there about our resources and our networking capability, and also to bring veterans, their spouses, and even separating service members, make them aware of the DAV and what we do. Our employment resources page is www.jobs.dav.org, and I encourage anyone listening to this to take a look at all the resources that we've assembled on our website. We've made it easy to navigate. You don't get lost within the layers like you do in some other job boards and resource pages. So take a look. DAV is a nonprofit charity. We've been assisting veterans and their families for over 100 years now. And we help more than 1 million veterans each year in life-changing ways. Our organization provides rides to VA medical centers for veterans who don't have a way to get there. And last year we had over 240,000 rides we offered. We help veterans and assist them with advocating for their VA claims so they can obtain the benefits that they earned while they served on active duty. And these are lifelong benefits. And last year we had over 150,000 claims that we filed. We've helped secure a total of about $25 billion in earned benefits for veterans and their families based on their military experience. So we're very proud of the effort we put forth and all of that, on all the efforts through all the programs and services that we provide within this organization. And keep in mind that all of our programs and services are free of charge to veterans and their families and the survivors of veterans. So we're a nonprofit veteran service organization. We are also a leader in connecting veterans with meaningful employment. We host job fairs, as I indicated. providing resources to ensure that they have the opportunity to participate in the American dream that we all served and sacrificed for through our military experience. We have over 1,200 DAV chapters and over 1 million members across the country, which provides and offers grassroots efforts for supporting veterans and their families from the cities, counties, and towns all over this country. It empowers our heroes and their families in providing resources they need to ensure that our nation keeps the promises that we made to them a long time ago. And as every generation of veterans actually go through their military experience. Employment or underemployment is a challenge for a lot of veterans that are out there. And we realize that. And in 2014, and we'll go back to 2013, the leadership of the organization knew that we had to provide additional resources. We had to have direct contact with veterans and their spouses and separating service members to assist them in identifying rewarding employment opportunities and careers, in fact. So we stood up our employment department as it is in current form in June of 2014, and we've evolved. We've learned every year that we go through this process of helping our fellow veterans and their spouses obtain employment opportunities. So our resources evolve on our website, and we do a lot to help veterans connect with whatever it is they want to do, not necessarily what they learn to do on active duty, but whatever interests them. And veterans are a dynamic group of individuals. They bring a lot of different ideas and energy to a workforce and to our communities in general. We have a strategic partner, and a major component of our resources through Recruit Military, who is a full service military to civilian recruiting firm. We host as title sponsors national, traditional, and virtual career fairs all over the country. We do this to ensure that we are able to connect companies and entities who want to hire veterans for their soft skills and their talents and skills. So we are a conduit for the veteran and the employment entities out there looking for specifically veterans. We use online tools, traditional resources, employers, franchisers, educational institutions. We assist active duty service members, Guard and Reserve personnel, veterans and their spouses at all levels. And also the services that the DAV provides are lifelong. So it's not just about a one-time, we assist you, we help you with your benefits, and then we're not there for you. We're there for you the rest of your life in a lot of different ways. So any veteran listening here today, I would encourage you to log on to DAV's website at www.dav.org, learn about all the services and programs that we have. Last year, we worked directly with over 370 companies seeking the talents and skills that veterans possess. It's very important. Corporate America understands, and they have for quite some time now, that veterans bring a lot of skill sets, talents to their workforce, which affects their bottom line. Whether they're for-profit or nonprofit, veterans are able to integrate into many workspaces. They offer a multitude of different talents and skills that allow them to work autonomously or work as a team, across team members. They're very motivated and energetic. And I always like to say that veterans believe that if you're not 10 minutes early, you're 5 minutes late to wherever you have to be. So that's one of the major components, is making sure your employees come to work on time, and veterans are going to be on time more often than not, that's for sure. So if you go to jobs.dav.org, you'll also see a job search board. Now on this particular job search board, right now we have over 400,000 jobs posted. And that's incredible. If you think prior to COVID-19, which affected the whole world, there was probably 110 jobs on this job board, and it has exploded. You can walk down Main Street America and every other business is going to show hiring or help wanted. So there are jobs available out there. It's just connecting veterans with the right opportunities that helps them grow and learn and be a part of the fabric of America, which all we want to do is when we take off the uniform is go back into society and do our part and be part of a team, be part of an entity that's moving forward and helping to change lives. And that's what we're all about here at DAV. We also have a partnership with Hiring America, a foremost voice in televised programs dedicated to helping veterans secure meaningful employment. And that reaches a lot of different entities out there through Hiring America. They link veterans through their videos and their interviews with entities that are looking to hire veterans, and whether it's from business leaders or career counselors or even human resource specialists, they interview all of these entities to give veterans and separating service members and their spouses the ability to hear and understand more about how to integrate back into the workforce when they take off the uniform. So we also, in 2012, Patriot Boot Camp was founded. It provides active duty service members, veterans, and their spouses with access to the mentors, educational program, and a robust community of experts and peers to help innovate and build impactful businesses. In 2022, DAV acquired Patriot Boot Camp in an effort to offer greater resources to entrepreneurs in the veteran military community. So we have added yet another layer to our employment resources for veterans, spouses, and separating service members that allows them to use their ideas and bring them to life, and allows them to start their own business and contribute in their own way to the community while having a fulfilling opportunity that helps them achieve the American dream as well. We're very proud of DAV Patriot Boot Camp. We're looking as we evolve this program and DAV puts our own touch on this program. We want to offer a full range of services, and this is just another layer within the employment realm that DAV is going to offer for any veteran or service member or spouse who has that entrepreneurial spirit and has an idea. We want to help them launch that idea if we can. So looking back at the unemployment numbers in March of 22, and all these employment numbers come from Department of Labor, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and primarily they're based on the number of unemployment claims that are entered in the month before, which does not take into effect seasonal adjustments for employment or other aspects of individuals who are leaving one job and entering another. So there are gaps in this information. And if you look at the number of jobs that are available in the United States today, these numbers really kind of are odd. They don't represent, in my opinion, what exactly is going on out there. If you look at the National Veterans Average, 2.4, the National Civilian is 3.6, Oshkosh Veterans in particular, 2.4, Oshkosh Civilian rate is 2.6, and then Wisconsin is 2.8. So these numbers are the latest ones that we've received from the Department of Labor. And like I said, as I travel around the country, I see all these jobs available all over the country. It kind of makes me wonder where the disconnect is. So we have meetings with the Department of Labor, vets, DOL vets, they call it, and we learn more about how they capitulate these stats. But it's kind of interesting to me to see all this low unemployment rate when you have so many jobs available and so many employers out there looking for talent. It's just one thing to consider as you move forward. So additional employment resources offered through the DAV. So on our landing page, we've revamped this landing page. It's a living, breathing entity. We add, we take things away when we see a need to do so. So you can go through our website, everything from job fairs to veterans and spouses, employers, hiring guide, which we are going to get in more today as the hiring guide, and certain publications. So we have all those tools available for not only veterans, spouses, and separating service members, but for employers as well, because we want to make sure or ensure that employers understand the military community, the culture, what a veteran is, what they can bring to the table. We average about 5,000 monthly page views on our webpage, and before COVID-19, it was a little more robust. So we're starting to come back a little more every month, and we're very proud of that. So when we get into the tools themselves in the veterans and spouse sections, that job search box is a very unique tool. It's a veteran-centric job board that you would be accessing. So a veteran or separating service member or spouse would enter in what they're looking for, whether it's human resources or whether it's mechanical engineering or whatever it is, and then they'd enter their location. I would say this, in entering a location, rather than a city or a town specific, I use zip codes because each zip code will give you a 25-mile radius search around the entire place of which you're looking. Just a little hint for anybody who's listening who wants to conduct a job search. We also offer educational information, mentorship capability, entrepreneurship. Obviously, PBC, DAV PBC is going to handle a lot of the entrepreneurial efforts and education and putting together a lot of events. You can also refresh your resume, whether it's learning how to build a federal resume or refreshing your civilian resume, putting together a cover sheet. All that matters because usually that resume is going to be the first impression that a recruiter or talent acquisition representative has of that individual. So it's very important that separating service members, veterans, and their spouses have a top-notch resume that reflects them and their capabilities and their credentials and experience and what they've done. It's a very crucial part of the whole process, as we all know. The DAV Patriot Employer, we developed a new program where we want to recognize employers for their hiring efforts, whether it's hiring the veterans, retaining, training them. We recognize them through our Commander's Award program, but we up the ante a little bit, so to speak, by introducing the Patriot Employer program. I encourage any employer who's looking at this presentation today to log into our program and submit a nomination to have their company recognized as a DAV Patriot Employer. If so, you will receive a badge, and we'll show that here in the future as we go along in this presentation. So submit a nomination. You can be considered nationally for recognition, but you will certainly be recognized by the DAV if your company hires and retains veterans. The Veteran Advantage, the guide to hiring and retaining veterans with disabilities. This is the crux of why we're here today. This is for guidance on how to learn about the military community, the veteran community, the different aspects of what veterans bring to the table. So it's a great guide for employers, and we're going to get a little more into that now. So we launched this in 2018, this publication. We looked at the different publications that were available out there, and we really didn't see anything that spoke directly to recruiting and hiring and retaining disabled veterans. And for us, that was very, very important. So we allocated resources accordingly. We got a lot of entities involved with putting together this guide that is primarily meant for employers and recruiting entities to get a better aspect and get a better idea on what exactly a veteran is, what they bring to the table, whether they have disabilities or injuries, how that actually integrates and how that works. Because veterans are unique individuals, whether we've had disabilities or injuries, we still have this desire to be a part of a team. We have a desire to move forward. We want to achieve just like anybody else. And basically this guide allows corporate America and any hiring entity to understand a little bit more about that. So the resources for employers, and I hope that every employer digs down in this, and it is a living, breathing document. The last update we had was 2020, and we are going to update again soon because there is some information in there I personally would like to see updated. And employers should also know about the incentives involved with hiring veterans. So it talks about tax incentive programs, how to hire veterans and look at the veteran population and get into the veteran space by participating in career fairs, receive recognition for hiring the veterans. So there's a lot here involved for employers. Not only do they hire it because it's the right thing to do in a lot of aspects, but because it'll help their bottom line, and to understand how the veteran community works, how the veteran space operates is integral to you getting in the pipeline of bringing veterans into your workforce. So this guide also offers real life experiences from different size employers and voices of veterans as we go through this. So whether you're starting or expanding a veteran hiring initiative and seeking to reduce barriers to employment, job satisfaction, productivity, retention, translate and understand the skills and experiences that veterans have is very, very important. So this guide actually equips employers to make sound employment decisions when they're including veterans with disabilities into their workforce. The topics primarily are financial incentives for the employees, how veterans tend to be loyal to an organization based on the military culture. Loyalty and integrity is above the top aspects or attributes that a veteran brings to your organization. Strategies on how to recruit and hire veterans, the guidance for interviewing veterans, strategies for implementing cost-effective workplace accommodations. The military-civilian gap is discussed, what veterans experience when transitioning out of uniform. It's a very confusing time. It's a lot of pressure on service members who are leaving a very structured culture and they're heading into the civilian space, which we all know is not always very structured. So it's a whole different approach. It's a whole different aspect to a veteran, because most of us join when we're 18, 19 years old. And by the time we get out, whether it's 4 years or 24 years, we have a totally different set of skill sets than when we joined. And those skill sets are what employers are looking for, because military strengths, they're unique to veterans and can influence organizations' outcomes, as the bottom line is very important. We also devoted a section of this to dispel some of the myths regarding traumatic brain injury, known as TBI, or even post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And the guide will get into this a little further. So 3 things to keep in mind, keep the top of your mind when you're looking at veterans with disabilities is serving the country is a point of pride and honor for veterans. And most of us identify as veterans first because we're very proud of our service, and then as a veteran with disabilities or injuries when the need arises, whether it's a preference for federal employment or even preference within state level government employment opportunities. All that kind of matters. It's important to expect the same level of performance from all employees, regardless of the age, disability, gender, or ethnicity. And we all know that. Anybody who works in the hiring space understands that that's the baseline of hiring and maintaining an effective workforce. Accommodations for employees with disabilities come without cost in most cases and with minimal expenses in most others. So as accommodations arise or the need for them to arise, there is different ways that employers can start those accommodations, put those in place, whether you're a veteran or not. If they require accommodation to be able to participate and be effective in your workforce, that's something that all employers must address at some time. We as veterans offer unique skills and experience gained through our military service, and that is paramount. Some of these include the leadership skills, the ability to work within and across teams, strong work ethic and character, and structured approach to getting work done. At the end of the day, veterans are trained to accomplish the mission. That is what we do. That's the focal point of all of our efforts. And while we're training to learn how to accomplish the mission, we obtain all of these different skill sets that I just went over. And those are just some of the attributes involved with veterans when you bring them into your workforce. Veterans are comfortable, adapt in rapidly changing circumstances. Veterans exhibit high levels of resiliency. Veterans exhibit advanced team building skills, and veterans exhibit strong organizational commitment. Like I said, veterans bring a lot to the table, but one thing that you can always anticipate with a veteran is they're going to get the job done. Given the resources, given the appropriate time to accomplish the mission effectively, they will help you reach your bottom line by completing any tasks that they're assigned. Let's go forward. All right. So financial incentives. So obviously the government wants employers to take a good look at veterans and hire veterans and people that serve their country to bring them into their workforce. So obviously incentives were born. So there are several different tax credits that can be applied to a company or hiring entity that actually onboards veterans or even disabled veterans to their workforce. A couple of them are the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, Returning Heroes Tax Credit, Wounded Warrior Tax Credit, and even in the state of Wisconsin, and most states have them, most states will offer a tax credit for hiring veterans or individuals with disabilities or disadvantaged individuals. So it's very important to look at all of these tax credits if you're a hiring entity to ensure that your company may qualify for these different tax credits. And I encourage all companies and hiring entities to do so, because that can obviously offset the cost of onboarding veterans with disabilities or veterans and their spouses. Department of Labor and state hiring and job training resources. There are a multitude of different resources out there that employers or hiring entities can look at to bring veterans into their workforce. A couple of them that we mentioned here today is the Career One-Stop Business Centers, and they're offered through the U.S. Department of Labor resource and employers looking to recruit, hire, and train and retain employees. So within every county in the United States, you will have a job employment center or some type of employment center, and many states call them different things. Embedded within those entities are the local veterans employment reps, the disabled veteran outreach program specialists, and the business consultants that specifically can help hiring entities cross-match and obtain veteran talent, because that's what they do. So if you have a job posting and you go to an LVER or a DVOP and say, hey, I would like to connect with the veteran community and I'd like to hire some veterans, that's where you start that local engagement. Obviously, you can start at national levels through different various websites and resources, but I encourage all hiring entities to look locally at these LVERs and these DVOPs, because they can be very integral in bringing on and providing you a pipeline of hiring veterans. So that's a very important aspect of hiring from the veteran space. State Veterans Affairs offices, which are state entities that may have additional assistance and financial resources for companies hiring veterans with disabilities. Look at every state has a military and or veterans department within their state entity. I would definitely contact the employment part or employment department of these state level entities, connect with them for networking. They will be able to provide you information about different resources and different pipeline aspects to bringing on disabled veterans into your workforce or veterans in general. So there are a lot of resources out there that can help. It's important. Some of the things we look at when we start a hiring initiative for veterans and even disabled veterans into your workforces, there's kind of a list, a checklist, which will be offered at the end of the program here. It's important that your executive leadership champions hiring veterans. They've got to have the buy-in so that the resources can be allocated, and providing that HR or talent acquisition group to actually go out there and resource or source veterans from all different networks. So that's very important. You have to have the internal marketing campaign and education using employees, existing employees, for hiring veterans with disabilities. Veterans have a network. They communicate with each other. So if you enlist the assistance of your veteran employees who are already on your staffs to do that, that's wonderful. And that's a great way to foster additional employment aspects to hiring veterans. You build internal veteran support groups. So usually an employee support group, sometimes employers or corporate entities will have veteran support groups internal to them, where we can also, like DAV, can go in and provide information seminars, educate your veteran workforce as to other benefits and things they've earned through their service, which would enhance their lives, even outside their day-to-day work routines. Create paths for training and upward mobility for disabled vets. Every employee should have the opportunity to evolve and to learn more and receive training so that they can receive upward mobility consideration. It's a sense of pride. And if the more someone brings to the table for your company, the more recognition, in my opinion, they should receive for those efforts. Use the disabled veterans employees for recruiting. I always recommend that we have a veteran or disabled veteran within your hiring scope or your team within the HR department, whether it's talent acquisition or veteran recruiting. They're the ones that can go out into the community, participate in job fairs, hiring events to actually not only bring attention to your brand, but also get into the veteran space and bring veteran talent or potential talent into your company. I would also connect with local veteran service organizations such as DAV Chapter 17 in Winnebago County. Reach out to these different entities. They obviously operate within the veteran space and all of the communities throughout the United States. So there's a lot of different folks that attend these meetings. Are all veterans, but they have business experience. They have all kinds of different networking capabilities. So tap into that resource. It may prove fruitful for you. Also understanding hiring that, when you hire National Guard and Reserve members, there are certain aspects about their rights through USERRA, which is Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act of 1994. I'm not going to go through all of these because I would imagine a lot of entities understand it. I would be remiss if I didn't offer this information to you just so that everybody's on the same page. So take a look at this information, in your own time after the presentation and see and ensure that you're holding up to this government standard. So we wanted to be able to provide a cross match of the gap between military culture and civilian culture. And how that translates. So it'll give you a better idea on where veterans and the veteran community and the military culture, provides certain training and they have certain codes of ethics that they have to follow. And it's what is ingrained in them and they carry that through the rest of their life. So if you look at the hierarchy, their uniforms and rank, that all is a structure within the military community. You look at the process and procedures are codified and explicit, basic rules may need to be explained. You can look at this list and you can cross match it. And at the end of the day, when you look at this, you can say, wow, the veteran or the disabled veteran is going to bring a different type of skill sets than some of the civilian counterparts applying for the same position within your corporate structure. So this just gives you a different aspect to look and compare to see where the differences may be. And then you'll have a better understanding of what a veteran is, what they've been through with their experiences and the training they've had, and what they can bring to your company. So there is also research out there that shows that, we have to dispel some myths. Veterans, just like any civilians who receive or are involved with traumatic incidents in their lives, may suffer with PTSD. And that is something that, a lot of service members, they may have, they may not have, and it may affect or may not affect how they go about their daily lives and even within the workspace. But PTSD itself and TBI itself shouldn't be a barrier or shouldn't raise a red flag to any potential employer. A lot of these conditions are controlled, or the veteran understands how to live with these conditions or injury residuals the rest of their lives. They don't normally impact their day-to-day ability to function in a workplace. Part of the reason we put this whole manual together was to dispel the fact that disabled veterans are broken people who require a lot of accommodation. And we want to dispel all of that because it's just not true. And there are obviously studies out there that'll prove this. So as you're looking at veterans, obviously you've got to be careful with conversations you have about disabilities during your onboarding process or hiring process. But also understand that if you have a veteran support group within your corporate entity, that's where the networking amongst themselves helps. And organizations like DAV can step in to help that service member, that veteran, understand where they can go to get treatment or ensure they understand they have medical, medical benefits waiting for them. So it's not a burden on the company so much as it is just understanding that, any individual who experiences traumatic events or has a head injury, whether they're military or not, still can be functioning, effective employees within your corporate structure. So we wanted to ensure that, take a good look at this information, and we want to dispel any myths about veterans being broken people who aren't going to be able to effectively help your bottom line. It's just not true. So we look at the multitude of different laws, regulations, and things like that evolving, not just disabled veterans in your workforce, but all employees in your workforce. But usually it deals with individuals who are who come to your company, and they do have some residuals of disability. There are rights both for the employer and for the employee. So it's important for you to be familiar with some of these that are listed here: the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Rehabilitation Act, Family Medical Leave Act, Uniform Services Employment and Reemployment Act, and the Vietnam Era Veterans Readjustment Act. Become familiar with those if it is part of the makeup of your company and you have disadvantaged or disabled veterans even working for you. It's important for you to understand the baseline for the rights of all involved. So here are some additional resources. Obviously, the hiring and retaining checklist, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But every one of these are hot links that you can click on, that you can learn more about different aspects of the veteran space, how to get in there to the veteran space to hire veterans and disabled veterans primarily, how veterans themselves can look in the DAV Patriot Bootcamp program to learn how to launch their ideas and become successful entrepreneurs, because at the end of the day, small businesses are the backbone of our society. And we've got to have those, because innovative ideas are going to evolve and make our lives better in the long run and make our economy better. So it's very important for that. Also, I wanted to be able to provide you with the lever in Winnebago County off the website, and also provide you a link that's going to allow you to tap into resources around you. The Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs, the Veterans and Spouses Job Fairs Skill Bridge program, which is very important. Military bases allow service members to embark in apprentice programs 6 months from discharge, where companies can actually bring them into an apprentice program while they're in uniform, get them trained up so that when they take off the uniform, they're eligible to be hired by the company. You've already got a head start because they're already being trained. So it's a great program, and I would look into that for sure to see if it's right for your company structure. And I want to say congratulations to 4imprint, who's been recognized as the 2022 Patriot Employer, DAV Patriot Employer. This is the type of recognition you can receive. So if you're a company out there, you hire veterans, retain veterans, I want you to apply. I want you to go to the website, apply, fill out the nomination application, receive that if you meet the bottom or minimum requirements that we have in place for hiring veterans. But congratulations again to 4imprint right there in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So that concludes my presentation today. I think I'm on time, so I can definitely entertain some questions should you have any, and McKenna will let me know that. And if you want to reach out to our department directly, here is our contact information. And depending on what your inquiry entails, will depend on which member of my team will be responding to you. And if you want to email me directly, my email address is rlugee, Lougee @dav.org. Send me an email if I can help you in any way in identifying potential veteran employees and learning how to network or getting into the pipeline. I certainly want to do that. I thank everyone for their time today, and it's been my pleasure, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you so much, Rob. Great webinar. I think that this is an awesome resource. I know I'm personally very thankful for all of our veterans and their service. So it's awesome to see them getting taken care of like this. So thank you for all you do. And thanks for coming here and doing this with us today. But for everybody tuning in, just a few things. Rob did share his presentation with me. So if anybody would like it, you can reach out to Rob directly, or I also have that and I'm happy to share those resources with you. We also will have it on our website. So you can go on our website and it will be under the Get Involved tab and then Web Archives. So we should have that up sometime today. And it looks like we just had someone reach out here. Could you send me a copy of the recording that I can send? Yes, we will get you the recording and we'll get you any materials that you need. Yes, I think that is it, but thank you so much. I don't think we have any more questions. All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, well, thank you so much, Rob, and everyone have a great day.
It's my pleasure, McKenna. Everyone have a great day, and thank you for hiring veterans and giving them the opportunity to exceed in life.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.